Hello gamers! CD Projekt Red is wrapping up work on brand new expansion for The Witcher 3. When SDPR announced another expansion for The Witcher 3, more than a decade after the game's original release, I honestly had no idea what to accept. After all, Blood and Wine was supposed to be Geralt's second and final farewell. CD Projekt Red had long since shifted its focus to Cyberpunk 2077 and The Witcher 4, and very few people genuinely believed we would ever return to one of the greatest RPG ever made. But over the past few months and weeks, we've learned a surprising amount about what SDPR has been working on. And now, the big picture is finally starting to come together. The new expansion, Son of the Past, no longer looks like some quick cash grab designed to milk our nostalgia for 2015. Quite the opposite. Everything we've seen so far suggests that this could be a massive expansion like Blood and Wine, one that delivers a grand new adventure for Geralt while also serving as a long-awaited bridge to The Witcher 4. And honestly, the more we learn, the more interesting this project becomes. So, the Son of the Past is said to fill the massive narrative gap between The Witcher 3 and The Witcher 4, while also serving as the Geralt of Rivia's final major adventure before the franchise fully shifted its focus to Ciri. What's more, Son of the Past is going to be the biggest DLC, and it will be bigger than other expansions. For example, Blood and Wine gave us 30 hours of content and a huge open world. As for the story, SDPR's CEO says that Son of the Past is a stand-alone tale about Geralt set immediately after the base game, which serves as a sort of indirect prologue to The Witcher 4. This means the expansion doesn't retcon or erase any of The Witcher 3 endings. Instead, it focuses on unexplored layers of ancient lore and old Witcher contracts, laying the groundwork for Ciri to take the spotlight as the main protagonist. And the title itself, Songs of the Past, isn't just a pretty face. It is a direct nod to Dandelian's ballads, which structure the narrative through songs. However, we only know the intentions, not the actual plot of the new expansion. So far, I see two main concepts. In the first, Geralt is living at his estate when Ciri, Dandelion trees or just some random dudes from the mountains shows up and says a monster has spawned somewhere and they need to save everyone. So we take the contract and go to kill it with Ciri. The second approach is a bit more nostalgic. All the characters gather at the estate to celebrate Beltane, and everyone starts swapping stories, including Geralt, who recalls an old adventure that Dandelion hasn't turned into a ballad yet. Basically, in the DLC, we'll dive into a flashback of Geralt and Dandelion, and somewhere in those memories lies some unrevealed secret moment that will intrigue Ciri and serve as a bridge to The Witcher 4. Either way, the developers have a real puzzle on their hands. They need to skillfully pass the baton from one protagonist to another, and then explain why so much time has passed between this DLC and the next game. In any case, these are just potential story concepts which aren't all that important. What's far more interesting are the locations, the characters, and the story of the Songs of the Past, which is already shaping up to be truly epic. Cause in point, we've been showing posters for the upcoming expansion, featuring Geralt holding a sword with an intricate crossguard. A hilt like that was only seen on elven swords in the third game, which already drops a major plot hint. According to various rumors, this blade closely remembers the sword forged back during the conjunctions of the spheres, which never actually made it into the game, and this ancient artifact must pack great power, like the Infinity Stone that could take down something like Dagon or some ancient monster from the depth of time. Also take a close look at the scabbard that looks like a Ciri's sword scabbard. So most likely she will receive this sword at the end of the expansion, and much of the plot will revolve around the sword and elven civilization. By the way, rumors about the expansion future location hints at this, the Kingdom of Cidaris, which already appears in the book Saga. The story A Bit of Sacrifice, where Geralt helped Prince Aglaval resolved his romantic troubles with the Cyrensianas, took place in Bremerwort, which is part of Cidaris. The kingdom's capital is the city of Cidaris, which was built on the ruins of an ancient elven city, just like Loch Muine in The Witcher 2. So, besides battles in the catacombs of Cidaris, we might also be in for a hunt for elven treasure, with the new sword being the crown jewelry. Another intrigue element of the expansion is the tree monster behind Geralt's back. It's unclear right now who or what that is. Many say it is a Leshen, or more precisely a new variety of Leshen. On the other hand, it could be a completely new monster, one that has spread its roots beneath all the Cidaris, or perhaps even all Temeria. It would be strange to build the plot of the biggest expansion around a simple Leshen. This forest creature should become the most powerful boss in the continent. Well, if it's even a boss at all. After all, this ancient trend could also be Geralt's companion. By the way, in the book Saga, there was a moment when Geralt ended up in a cycle of druids, and there he saw a huge tree help the druids, literally up and from the Lord of the Rings. And if we remember that Geralt's mother was a druid, so perhaps this is her old friend that will help Witcher. The simplest option, of course, is that Tree is a cursed elf who is forever trapped in the form of the tree and needs to be saved. And then, as usual, we save him, he turns out to be a villain, and now you must defeat him with the sword from the poster. And finally, the biggest news. In the new expansion, we will 100% get new content for GWENT. And this will include both the game content and content for the standalone GWENT game. Within the game itself, I think, they'll edit a couple of cards for each faction. As for the card game GWENT, it's getting a second wind. As you know, in 2022, GWENT was left in the hands of the players, and various expansions were cancelled by 2027. But in 2027, after the release of Songs of the Past, GWENT should receive a new add-on focused on monsters. Then we'll get a couple more DLC after the release of The Witcher 4, then a couple more after The Witcher 5 and Witcher 6. So let's get ready for the resurrection of GWENT. By the way, the first gameplay footage will be revealed on August 25. The developers themselves say they're actively preparing for the presentation. There are 190 people from SDPR and Fool's Theory Studio working on the engine. So, in 2027, we won't just get a bunch of assets to plug the company's financial holes. We'll get a massive project with the modern mod integration and expanded mini-games, and at the same time the developers will be able to squeeze a couple of $1 billion out of the old engine before making the final transition to Unreal Engine 5. Well, for me this expansion was a real surprise. I thought The Witcher 4 would solve the plot problem in its prologue or gradually through the whole game, but SDPR once again shown that the game and its fans come first for them, as they decided a whole decade later to release a special expansion to tie the franchise story together. Moreover, all of this being done to avoid all questions about why and how Ciri became the main character. That's why I love SDPR. They don't abandon their products and keep pushing it to the limit. That's why I think that the Song of the Past will be an excellent expansion, and whether that's true or not, we'll find out very soon. Thanks for watching, press like and subscribe on the channel.